Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in every part of the world that we might have people watching us here through Mujeres de Éxito Global. And this is our first live, and we want to share with you the reason and why we are here in this space and why Mujeres de Éxito Global has been created. It started for me back in 2016 when I decided to enter in this journey of sharing stories with women in Panama, my hometown. So I had this bad experience where I had this burnout, and I had 3 days in hospital. And for that time, I started to be aware of what SelfCare and how important it is for me in this journey of success, in this journey of being a woman, and to start, realizing how important is balance for us as women, because it's not only about business women or women who are in the entrepreneur world, but every woman who is a multitasker. And we are multitaskers because that's the way we are being, educated. So things has changed in this pandemic, but still self-care is more important than ever. And, self-care in some way has changed now. So today, we wanted to share with Dr. Brian, who is, an expert in all these important aspects of life. That's why she is a psychologist and life coach. She has also helped me personally in many of these aspects as an entrepreneur, as a woman. And she was part of one of our best conference through the digital platform. We call this conference Mujeres de Éxito Evolution because we evolve from being, present in, live conferences to the digital world. And so now we created Mujeres de Éxito Global so that we can go through other, countries. And this is the very, great thing about technology, that we can go wider, that our dreams go wider. And that's the way we have to see all these things that are going out in this pandemic. We have to see the opportunities, and we have to change that mindset of being in the, in that feeling of that we have been losing a lot of things. Of course, we have been losing, but we have to see the opportunity through that path. And when I started Mujeres de Éxito, we refer in Mujeres de Éxito to stories of women that have gone through success in their life. And success for us, it doesn't have to do only with the economic part of it or the money part of it. It has to do with, the well-being, being happy with what you're doing. You get a purpose in life, and you also understands the balance between work life, family life, and all the roles in your life that makes you proud of being a woman. So today we're going to change that mindset about stories, and we're going to go through this, I have decided to name this the journey of success. Because we are all going through a journey right now, trying to figure out how are we going to put together all these new things that are, going in our life to make it a wonderful world for us. And here is Dr. Brian, and the topic today, it's going to be self-care, the importance of self-care in that journey of success. And let me bring her on here so that we, as an expert, what it is or what the self-care means. Hello!
Hi, beautiful. Hello.
Hello! I was trying to explain our, community what is, this journey of success in Mujeres de Éxito Global, so that they know what are we sharing here and the purpose behind all this space. Thank you for being here, Dr. Brian.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Again, I'm really excited to be here. I know that the topic that we're discussing is very important. Talking about self-care and self-love, which they intertwine. Obviously, they represent each other. You can't have self-care without self-love, and you can't have self-love without exercising self-care. So that's very, very, very important. And it's important that I'm going to hook my light up. I thought I can do this without my light, but I'm going to get really lit up in a minute. Watch this. Magic is going to happen. Watch this.
Magic.
There
Let
was
me.
light. There we go. So, and it's really important. The reason why self-care is so important is because we produce who we are in all of our experiences. So we're always experiencing us, meaning whatever we want to experience in any of our relationships, we must first fill ourselves up with that stuff. That stuff comes from self-care and self-love. And so it's extremely important to remember, okay, if I'm experiencing frustration, if I am experiencing negativity in the midst of a relationship or through my experiences throughout the day, that must mean that that is what I have put in my self-care cup. So your self-care cup comes empty. And whatever you fill that up with is what you get to experience, good or bad. And so if you want good, you have to fill that up with good, right? But if you're filling it up with negativity and this pessimistic perspective, and that's exactly what you will receive. We produce who we are in the world, and we see in others who we are, not who they are. Let me say that one more time. We see in others who we are, not who they are, which means that at the capacity at which we fill ourselves up with this love, that is the capacity, no more, no less, at which we can receive love from someone else. I always say that there's gallon-sized people, right? And then there's pint-sized people. If a gallon-sized person pours all of what they have in their gallon into the pint, they're not going to fill that pint up. Does it mean that the gallon-sized person didn't give their all? They gave everything they had. They gave their whole gallon. But this person's a pint. And so we have to make sure that part of self-care is also choosing compatibility and people who are conducive to that pint size that we need, or to that gallon size love that we need. And it's important to have the awareness of who you are. What's your capacity, right? What do you need from folks to be filled up? And so whatever you need from people is exactly what you got to give to self, because it starts with self.
Wow. Wow. That's brilliant. I mean, I've never thought about what you want from people is exactly what you have to give yourself. That's brilliant. Thank you for that. When I think about self-care, I somehow confused the term or the concept by thinking that it was, exercising, looking good, going to the spa, and, going out for dinner and having this social great life. But when you think about it, it has more to do with the inner part of yourself, like knowing yourself in terms of how your emotions are being affected through the things that you are surrounded or that you go through, and how to make those healthy boundaries of not making those things get into you and affect you and drain your energy.
Yeah.
So if you can talk me about when we don't really know how to set healthy boundaries, what is setting healthy boundaries, and how we get to that point when we don't know how to do it.
Totally. I love what you said. And I always describe to my clients that, so we are a ship that's sailing in this beautiful, beautiful body of water. Okay. And the water is beautiful as long as it stays outside of our ship. The water being people, their thoughts, their opinions of us. As soon as that water gets into or inside that ship, we all know what happens. That ship begins to sink. As long as we can sail along in our journey and we keep the water, the opinions of others outside of our boat, we're able to sail with ebb and flow. As long as we can keep our thoughts and our opinions of ourselves being the only things that affect our focus, then we're rocking and rolling. The moment that water, i.e. people, get into our boat, our sail begins to sink or sink. That is exactly how it is in real life, which is what you're saying about boundaries. You know, this is the thing. Setting boundaries is just a direct reflection of self-love. And this is another thing I tell people, that it's hard for them to get the concept. Whatever someone has done to you, you have already done to yourself. Listen, if you're foreign to anything that someone is doing, meaning it has not been done to you already by self, it can't seep into your ship. But if you've already done it to yourself, it becomes familiar. So now you are receptive to that at which is being done.
Wow.
This is why it goes back to self. So
Wow.
if I respect myself, then I don't have to put up a boundary for respect.
Right.
And if I love myself, I don't have to not so much teach, but I don't have to give you scrutiny about why you are not loving me. It's because you're not loving yourself. And so think of yourself as this beautiful garden, right? And most people put this gate around this beautiful garden.
Right.
You only put a gate up for what? To keep perpetrators out. You don't put a gate up because you don't need to protect that beautiful garden. There's a gate to protect that garden, to keep rodents and weeds and perpetrators out. But the universe mirrors what you do. And so if you put a gate around a beautiful garden, the universe is going to send you people and things, perpetrators, to attempt to get in, so it shows you that your gate is working. Now listen to this really quick, Stephanie. But if we trust ourselves and we trust the universe to know we don't need a gate around our beautiful garden, guess what? It won't send perpetrators to get in your garden because there's no gate to protect anything. Meaning, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I put a gate up to protect myself against something, the universe is going to send that at which I'm protecting against. Okay. But if I trust the universe and don't put this gate around anything, because I trust myself to be okay, no matter who comes in my garden. And I understand that whatever comes in my garden is exactly what I'm a magnet to. Nothing can come in my garden that I'm not attracting. Mm-hmm. So if I'm taking care of self to the point that I'm attracting who I am, right? Compassionate, empathetic, loving, positive, abundant. If I'm attracting that, I'm a magnet for that. I don't want a gate around me because I want to attract all of that of which I am. Mm-hmm. So in essence, we only put a gate up thinking we are keeping perpetrators out, but we're really keeping ourself away from our own self, because everything goes back to self.
So, when you mentioned this about, not putting the gate and all this that you're explaining, which sounds amazing to me because I'm that kind of person that visualizes things that way and learn it that way. So probably people who are watching us also go through this way of learning. I think about confidence. It comes to my mind, confidence. Getting that confidence to knowing what is right and what is wrong for you, and decided where to put that boundaries. So how can we start this journey of putting boundaries when, does it has to go through saying it in a way, or just this way that you just explain it, like knowing what I really want in my life, going through life with that confidence will make the boundaries to people? I don't know if I'm clear with that question.
Yeah, totally. So you're saying, do you have to go around setting these boundaries verbally and kind of like doing it in a way where you're saying, this is the boundary, don't do this? No. Again, everything is energy. So you calibrate everything. I always say, you want to know what you're calibrating, take a seat into self and become an observer of your environment. Whatever is within your environment, whatever you're experiencing from day to day is what you are calibrating. You're just a ball of energy and vibration. So you calibrate like this, and things that you calibrate stick to you. So if your calibration is giving you the result that you want, you keep calibrating right there, baby. But if it's not
Okay.
giving you the result you want, you check self calibration,
Okay.
and you calibrate to that level at which will keep you in that I call vortex. I say this: we only have one job, literally. Folks make it way too hard. We have one job, Stephanie, and that one job is to be happy. And if we practice that one job, which is to be happy all day throughout our life, and we're picking thoughts that make us happy, people that celebrate us and not tolerate us, behaviors, places, and environments that make us happy, then guess what? We're always in that happy space. So
Right.
check this out. No matter how much I look backwards, I have happy memories. No matter how much I stay in the present, if I'm doing my one job, I'm pretty much happy. No matter how much I look in the future, I can bank on happiness being my norm. And what happiness means is, while life is doing what it's supposed to do, which is this. See, life is meant to be an emotional roller coaster.
Of
Life
course.
was not meant to be monotone. That's not what it does. People are so busy trying to change life, which they'll never be able to do, instead of trying to shift their perception, which is a miracle, just a shift in perception, and in getting themselves to a place of peace and happiness. While life is doing this, you should be a sturdy oak. The Bible says for you to be in the world, not of the world. That means that you're in the world while the world's doing this. You're a
Right.
sturdy oak. You're a sturdy oak. Because you say, you know what, life? You're supposed to do this. You know what, life? I'm not going to personalize the emotional roller coaster. Because you
Right.
do this to Stephanie. You do this to my mom, my friend. You've done this all of life's existence. So for me to expect you to change, and you've been like this for hundreds and thousands of years, you're not going to change for little old me, as important as I am. So
Right.
guess who has to change their perception and the way they respond to that? We do.
We do.
And so if within what life does, I can be at peace, understanding that this too shall pass. This is a part of life. Everything comes with polarity. You know, before you know it, I'm getting what I want. Before you know it, I'm back to happiness. Before you know it, I'm in peace and I'm excited. Then we don't put as much pressure in this stress and this worry and this depressive behavior as people do when they don't understand that's what life was here to do. It's here to do what it does.
Of course.
Just like thoughts. Thoughts are here to do what? They're here to think. That's why they're called thoughts. They're not here to think what you want them to think or think what they're here to just think. That's it. But
Mhm.
the mind is here to serve us,
Perfect.
not for us to serve it.
Correct.
And with that understanding, that means that we tell the mind what thoughts it will think.
We
That's
control it.
conviction. We control it. That's conviction. My thoughts can't come in my mind and tell me how it's going to affect me. Maybe years ago, when I didn't understand the awareness of self and the power of choice, all the way down to my thoughts and my emotions, then thoughts could come in and tell me things and throw me off. And I have down spirited days because of thoughts that came in my mind. But today I can tell thoughts, no, we're not thinking that today. You serve me. So let me tell
Of
you how
course.
our day is going to go. Let me tell you what we're going to think today.
Mhm.
And guess what? The power of life and death is in the tongue. As I speak that, life becomes the prophecy I speak over my life. So I tell myself what kind of day we're going to have. And momentum goes with what I tell it, because it is here to serve us. We have been given dominion over all this stuff. The Bible says we just have to possess it. How many of us are giving away our power by not
The
possessing
power,
what's ours? It's our power.
controlling that
Power.
mindset.
So we don't have to set
Perfect.
boundaries. How you set boundaries is by loving yourself enough to where when people are around your energy, they know that you are not the one. They know that they cannot treat you like that. They can't speak to you like that because of
I
how
like it.
your love, right, illuminates outside of you. A woman who commands when she walks in a room versus demands are two totally different women. Command is I'm here, I'm present. My energy speaks for who I am. Demand is I have to tell you all day long what you can and what you can't do. One's powerless and one's powerful. And we choose which one we want to show up as.
I love it. I love it. I'm really into this journey of success. And for me, it's like starting by self-care
Yeah.
and self-love. I mean, that's the most important thing, knowing what you really like, what you want into your life, and how you want to live your life. So I think that's very important for a successful woman. Mujeres de Éxito, you need to know what self-care means to you and treat yourself as the most important thing in your life, because
Yeah.
you cannot give love or treat others in the right way if you don't do it with yourself. I mean, it has to start with us. And I want to take just a little space for you to tell me what self-care means right now in a pandemic. I know you already mentioned that even though the world is just crazy and moving, it's you that has to be just right there. Can you give me like what it's been self-care for you in this time? Like what things have you tried to modify or made part of your life to make it better for you?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. So for me, I make sure that I am exercising every day because that's cathartic and therapeutic for me. That doesn't mean it works for everyone else. And a morning walk, an evening run, that works for me. An evening walk, so for everyone who's on here doesn't know, Stephanie is in Dubai. So it's 8 a.m. out there. And obviously I'm
Right.
in the States, I'm in Los Angeles, California, and it's 8:30 p.m. where I am. So when I get off of our wonderful live, I'm going to go for a night stroll because that is self-care for me. I'm able to process. I'm able to think. That's my time with self and with God. I'm able to silence myself and get into my vortex and my zone. And I center and align me by just being and breathing and not putting any extra effort into me besides just being and being on my night stroll. And I'm able to look at the beautiful view we have down here and so forth. Not only that, I make sure that I'm around people who celebrate me, who I can be authentically who I am. And there are two things, compatible and conducive for me. Okay. I'm not around people that I have to twist and turn and become a pretzel for them to celebrate me. I don't
Wow.
desire to be around those people. And
Wow.
whatever quirky or uniqueness or whatever I got going on, I want to be a magnet for those people who are like-minded, who are my tribe and my village. Be
Like-minded.
me, and we just get each other. People need to be able in your environment that celebrates you and not tolerate you, because celebratory things are very empowering. The other thing that I do a lot of is self-talk. I make sure that I
Mhm.
talk to myself all day throughout the day. I prophesize over my life. If I do something wonderful, I celebrate myself. I don't wait for others to tell me I did a great job. I'm like,
Great.
I'm killing the day. I'm doing this. What a productive
Me
day. Like,
too.
look at me. Look how amazing I am. I just killed this 3 mile run. And I mean, I'm celebrating. I feel good about it. And I make sure that I am the leader on empowering and celebrating me.
Of
And
course.
and then I meditate every single solitary day for 20 minutes every day in the morning, because in the morning it's very important to calibrate, to set your calibration, which is setting your
Exactly.
momentum. And I align myself. And so those things are very important. Another thing you can do that's awesome throughout this pandemic is have a text accountability partner. Meaning I have a couple girlfriends and even some guy friends that I text some really positive, loving things to, playful, goofy things. Hey, I love you. Hope you have an amazing
Great.
day, or
Great
whatever it is.
recommendation.
And then they respond with something positive. And so what that does is that allows us to empower and celebrate each other. And we do it every day and sometimes throughout the day.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. And um, what about being a little bit more empathetic in this moment, in this situation? Like if you have a bad day, because we are going through this process of learning many new things of how to adapt our life to this new, way of living. So have you tried to be more empathetic to you? Like, like, okay, this is, I mean, it's not the usual Dr. Brian, but it's going to be better tomorrow. Like how you handle that moment.
So I believe in not committing to anything you're not going to pour your entire self in. So
Mhm.
anything that I'm doing, whether I'm on one-on-one calls, live coaching my clients, or I'm on a live like this, being a guest, or I'm, whatever I'm doing, or I'm doing NAACP or involved with my speaking events via Zoom, I'm making sure that I'm pouring everything I have, so that I do know that Dr. Bryant showed up in every moment that I was able to show up. And what I do allow is I allow myself to be authentic. And I have compassion for myself by saying, you know, even if you believe you made a human mistake, you were in the perfect form that the universe needed you to be in for the folks who are watching to receive you. So there's no such thing as not being good enough. There's no such thing as making a mistake that wasn't meant to be made, because we were all made so perfectly, uniquely, exactly the way God's thumbprint created us to be. We're a thumbprint, right, of God. And to say that there was a mistake or a imperfection, and I say that without humility, within ourselves, is to say God made a mistake when he made us. He doesn't make any mistakes. Our flaws are here because they're meant to resonate with other people with the same flaws. Our journey and things we've gone through are so important because
Beautiful.
someone else is there to resonate with being, you know, if someone is a single mom or a divorcee or married and going through some issues or whatever flaw that they have, that flaw is so uniquely perfect for you. You should be standing in that power, and you should be standing on top of a mountaintop saying, hey, it's me. This is who I am. Because what happens is then you get to attract people to your real self, not your mask. And you don't have to wear this mask that at some point turns itself at you, and you have to deal with that mask.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy going through
heavy.
life with a mask. So heavy. I mean, I don't know how people can do it, but because I'm not in that, but I understand what you're saying. So I know we have a, you know, we have a time for this, and I want to recap like in, you know, in few tips or suggestions that we can say to our community, that how can they be aware of their self-care and not get lost, you know, in the path of, you know, something is draining my energy. What is going on? I having these bad moods every day and things are not going the right way. So how can we get aware of this in few tips that Dr. Brian can share with us?
Absolutely. So some tips and some tools on how to implement self-care in your life. And it should become a lifestyle, not something you just do for 2 weeks or a month. This should become a lifestyle because, you know, it's one thing to obtain something, but the true essence of doing self-work is to sustain that peace and that alignment by continuing to make the work a lifestyle. So certain tips, like tip number 1 is to make sure you're meditating every day for 15-20 minutes. Meditation is something that's really challenging for people, but all you have to do is literally take your cell phone, right, and set your cell phone at, say, 20 minutes. Go to YouTube or go to my website, drbryant.co. I have free meditation and music. It's already timed at 20 minutes, okay? And press play on that meditation. Shut your eyes closed, put your palms up so you can be in the receiving position, and just literally sit for your 15-20 minutes. If you get antsy, just realign yourself to focus. Before you know it, it gets easier. Trust me, it gets easier. The other thing is to make sure that you are calibrating yourself in the morning after you do your meditation. You are having a conversation with yourself, setting the momentum and your calibration about how amazing this day is going to be, how awesome it's going to be, how you're going to kill the day. Everything you touch is going to turn to gold. Every phone call you make is going to be a yes. Every yes you need is going to be sent to you, is going to be received. And everywhere you go, doors are going to fly open before you even knock or touch the doorknob. You set your momentum at the beginning of that day, and you just go through the day with exactly that. The other thing is make sure that, again, you are spending time throughout the entire day with people who celebrate you, not folks who tolerate you. Tolerating you is very disempowering. Folks who celebrate you is very empowering. And another thing I want to touch on, those are my 3 tips, okay? So meditate, calibrate by doing your self-talk and affirming and setting your momentum for the day. And the third one is to be around people who celebrate you, not tolerate you.
Around people.
People, yes. You know, and because isolation is a depression, it leads to depression. If you want to have solitude, meaning time for yourself to clear your thoughts, perfect. But don't isolate in the sense of you want to be alone because you're going through something and you don't have the to speak about it. Listen, suppression is depression. Isolation leads to depression. So anything in you will stay stuck and continue to bother you until it comes out. It has to come out some kind of way, whether you're going to a therapist, a coach, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, a stranger on the elevator, but let it come out in a healthy way. Do not suppress what you're feeling or what you're going through. It's not healthy, and it leads to depression, and it leads to suicidal ideation, and everything else just goes downhill. So either get you a coach, a therapist, or get you someone that you can just lay out. And the other thing
Yes.
is, whenever you feel, I know we're coming to end of time, but I want to say is whenever you feel frustrated, whenever you feel disharmony, that's because you are out of alignment with your inner being. This is your inner being. Everything you want is here. You tell your inner being, I want a new job, I want a car, I want a partner. Your inner being starts to then set that vibration so that you can attract that. Whenever you are in discord, disharmony, that means you are up here from your inner being, here from your inner being, but you're not in alignment. So that means you have to slow down so things can speed up. Understand that.
Okay.
Again,
Yes, yes, yes. I
oftentimes
went
you
through
have to
that.
slow down for things
Have
to
slowed
speed up.
down.
For
Yeah, I
things to
went through
speed up.
that. So because burnout is also depression, and going really speed without, any kind of, stopping, or I don't know how you say it, but it's like, it feels like you're going just so exhausted that you cannot think anymore. So you need to be aware of that.
You
Thank you
have
for
to.
that,
Yeah.
doctor.
The best thing
So,
you can do, you can give
uh-huh.
people, is to be selfish. It sounds funny, but the best thing you can do for your loved ones is to be selfish enough to fill yourself up with self-love and self-care. Because remember, whatever it is that we're filled up with, everybody else gets a piece of it. So the
Yeah.
most selfless thing you can do is to be selfish in a healthy way of filling you up with that love and that compassion, that time you need to recalibrate, to regroup, to process. And then when you come back, you're able to pour that into everyone else, because we produce who we are in other people and in our experiences and relationships. And it's only fair to give folks what they deserve, which is what you've already given yourself, which is love, compassion, and all that good stuff.
Wow, amazing. I know you have this great program that is called Mindset of Wealthy. Am I
Yeah,
right?
the wealthy mindset. Yep.
The Wealthy Mindset. So, if you can tell us about it, so maybe people that are sharing with us here or that might see this live can be part of that Wealthy program. I think I'm going to get into because it sounds great. Tell us about it.
Totally, absolutely. So the Wealthy Minds is a 30-day program, and I give all of the principles on how to think to have an entire wealthy world. Meaning, obviously, every day we live in the results of our mindset. And so our mind sets us on the path that we are going on, and it sets us on the path that we will end up on. And so if we don't have a mindset, then the universe is giving us anything, the leftover scraps. And so we have no principles, and we're not setting our path by our mind to reflect that. So the course, which is 30 days, it's a 30-day program. It shows you all principles on this is how you think. This is the blueprint to wealthy thinking, not just wealthy thinking in your bank account, but wealthy meaning your relationships, wealthy meaning
Right.
your health, wealthy meaning your
Abundance.
joy, your happiness, abundance, right? And there is a recipe, there is a blueprint to how to think to receive wealth and abundance in your entire world. So there is a blueprint to poverty and to wealth when it comes to a lifestyle. And there are some folks who get it, who practice it every day, like myself and like you. And there's other folks who are just living in this world of they're just getting the scraps of what you and I don't want. And the only
Right.
reason why they're getting those scraps is because they haven't created or implemented the principles into their mindset that the universe can reflect, because the universe is a direct reflection of who we are, of
Right.
what we think, of what our mindset creates. So you want to know what your mindset has been creating, look at your world. And if your world is rocking, keep the mindset. But if your
Right.
world is not exactly how you want it, then you need to enroll into my Wealthy Mindset 30-day program. It is extremely effective. My clients who have taken it love it. My clients who have one-on-ones with me, they get the principles in our one-on-ones, and they absolutely love our coaching sessions. And so you guys check it out. You can go to my website at drbryantInstitute.com. We can probably pin it down there, but I don't know how to do it on my phone right now. But drbryantInstitute.com.
Do you want me to write the account like Instagram?
Yeah, you can pin it on there. Let's see if we can pin it.
Dr. Brian Institute.
Mm-hmm.
I put it like the the Instagram account. If
Oh,
I'm
good.
not, I
Thank
guess
you.
it's like that.
Did it go?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh,
I did
someone
the
else.
website. I did the
Yeah,
website. I
someone
did the
else put
Instagram.
it. Yeah,
That's perfect.
perfect.
Yes. So you
Yeah.
guys can go to that website or go to my page and click the link in my bio, and then you can enroll as a student and you can register into the Wealthy Mindset 30-day program. I'm telling you, you guys, it's so resultful. It's crazy the results that come out of when folks get their mind and implement these principles. I mean, I can't even start to describe the effects of having the principles. It's kind of like the Bible is just full of principles, you know,
Mm-hmm.
telling you how to think and what that looks like. And the results of these principles are real. Folks are just waking up and trying to figure out what to do and what to say and how to think in their world every day. And then they're going to bed empty and miserable, waking up doing the same dysfunctional lifestyle that is not
Right.
serving them any purpose. And
Of
it's
course.
time for you to be intentional. It's time for you to create the mindset that
Intentional.
you want to
I love
manifest.
that word. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's a part of the principle of being intentional and knowing how to think wealthy thoughts. Folks have so many poverty driven thoughts, and then they're looking
Right.
at their life going, why am I still here? Why has it not happened for me yet? Because you are creating too much resistance in your mindset, in the way that you're thinking. You are in your own way. Period. You're
Yes.
in your own way.
Yeah, yeah. You know, somehow people get educated or they grow by this bad thing that parents says like money is bad, you know, something like
Mhm.
money is not good, and you know, if you get too much money it's not good. So those things we have to take them away and get a new mindset about, as you mentioned, prosperity and abundance. It's very important to
Mhm.
understand this in order to get that success that people want in their life. So thank you, Dr. Brian, for sharing with us this, I mean, amazing, uh, you know, all these recommendations that you just said about self-care. And I want to invite everybody here to keep, you know, following us for these episodes or live that we're going to be sharing about the journey of success, that what it means for women, what it means for us in this world that is changing right now to go through this journey of success. So thank you for being here, and we'll see each other in another moment or space for Mujeres de Éxito Global. Bye,
Absolutely.
Dr. Brian. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
sweetie.
Thank you
Bye,
for being
everyone.
here.
Thank you for joining us.